What advice do I have for you playing outfield in AT&T Park in center field? Well, number one, the biggest thing is the wind. You know, and it's not as bad as Candlestick. I think I was lucky I didn't play there, but it's the wind. It's unpredictable. You know, normally you look out, the flag's in center or the flag's above home plate to get an idea, or the flagpole to get an idea what the wind's doing. In San Francisco, they're all going to be doing something different. I kid you not. The ones behind the plate are going to be blowing, you know, like strong, straight out. Then you're going to look behind you, and it's going to be blowing in. And that's just because it swirls. The wind comes in off the bay. It kind of comes through that right field and kind of swirls. So, you know, my advice is like always keep your feet moving. You know, the people that I see that get in trouble, they get to a ball and they kind of get lazy, you know.
Start drifting a little bit.
Exactly. You know, like if you play in a dome or somewhere where there's no wind, like when I came up Tampa or wherever, you know, you're gonna have it getting lazy, and you know, like ball's going up, I know exactly where it's coming down. You get yourself in a lot of trouble in San Francisco doing that. So, you know, all the fundamentals, staying behind the ball, kind of staying athletic, keep your feet moving. That's the biggest advice I can give you. But I know you got to love playing in big ballparks. I always did.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, that's where I get a chance to, you know, utilize my speed and you know, go get the ball. I mean, that's what I've always, you know, loved. I've played in some big ballparks in my career, so, you know, that was one of the first things that I noticed when San Francisco, you know, called me to play center field was the big outfield.
Yeah, and then the other thing is the park plays a lot different at night versus during the day. The ball does, you know, I wouldn't say jump. It doesn't play small by any stretch, but the ball definitely carries more. So at nighttime, that's when you really get an opportunity, get those big gaps and run some balls down.
Everything I've heard is you got to protect that right center gap. That's where the triples, and we even talked to Hunter. He's, you know, Hunter and even Angel. Angel was saying that they would try to bunch up the gaps. You know, give up the balls down the line. Those are doubles. But you want to, you know, keep teams from, you know, going from first to home in those gaps, and you know, guys getting triples and stuff like that. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, and especially in a big ballpark, you know, it's not just the center fielder that's got to cover all that. You got to play together. And you know, I've watched Hunter over the years. I've watched Angel. I've watched Blanco out there. They really do a great job of communication. And when I first came here and I was playing center, we had Moises Alou in right and Barry in left. And, you know, those guys were a little bit older, but when you get older, you get smarter.
That's true.
So we played a lot of scouting reports. We played together. You know, if I was moving over to left center, Moises would move to carry that gap. If he was moving towards that line, and to your point, we bunched. So one of us was always protecting against that gap, and that's huge. And you know, I've watched Hunter. He does a great job talking about where he's playing, and you know, as a center fielder, you're going to be the captain and dictating. All right, let's move together. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah, we most definitely got to play together. I mean, that's you know, when one person's off, then it compromises the whole outfield and the whole defense. So that's something that even I've talked to Blanco. He's like in left field, whenever he's playing left or right, he said he's always watching the center fielder to make sure even if the center fielder takes 1 inch to the left, he's going with them. And so that's what, you know, I think that's big, like you said, just the communication and making sure, you know, everybody, you know, has the same amount of space, and, you know, that's how you know, cover all the gaps.
Deep right center, still carrying pads, and he makes a catch.
Especially when you have good pitching.
Exactly.
when those guys are hitting their spots, and you know, for me playing center, I like to think along with the catcher, and you know, situations, and just learning like how does Buster like to attack hitters. And you know, I heard you guys during live BP, you were talking a little bit about kind of what he was doing, and I heard him say, all right, you know, cut her in, and then I'm gonna go this off that. But as an outfielder, I like to always watch the catcher. Sometimes you can see the signs, sometimes you can't, but a lot of times like how he sets up, sometimes when he's lower, when he sits up, you can tell what the pitch is. And these pitchers are so good at hitting their spots. Like, for me, coming to a new team, that was always something that it took a little bit of time, but you know, that's just another thing. Like, once you get to know those guys and the pitchers and like what they like to do in situations, it makes being an outfielder that much easier.
Yeah, you're right about that. And also, like I said, I think with also just learning your pitchers, knowing, you know, which day when they have their good stuff. You know, when they have their good stuff, then all right, you know, we might shift over to the opposite, you know, to opposite side because guys are late, And there's days when those pitchers maybe don't have their best stuff, and so you don't always play, according to the scouting report. So yeah, it's just a lot goes into playing outfield and center field, obviously. But I think experience is going to be the greatest teacher, for me once I get out there and get as many games under my belt.
All right, here's a question for you. How much do you play to the hitter scouting report versus how much do you play to kind of the pitcher's scouting report?
In the past, all I've ever looked at was really the hitters, see what his tendencies are, but then like I said, depending on who's pitching that day, what that pitcher has, sometimes you have to adjust off of that. If it's first at bat, a guy comes up and normally, he pulls the ball, but the guy who's throwing really has his fastball, his two-seamer working, and then you can just start reading his swing that, he's not picking up some, maybe he's not seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand and he's a little late. Then the second, third at bat, then you adjust to that. But I've always looked at the hitter spray chart and played according to that.
Hitters out there, young kids, in-game adjustments.
Yeah.
I think that's a lost art. I really do.
Yeah.
Now you see so many guys, and I'm not picking one person out, but you'll see guys working on their swing in the outfield.
Yeah.
And they're not thinking about defense. So I love hearing you say that because you got to read their swing.
Yeah.
Like even a scouting report says, hey, this guy's a pull hitter.
Yeah.
If bum's on and he's painting the corner and the hitter's a little bit late, you got to adjust and you got to bring all those guys with you to cover that. That's huge. I love hearing that.
Exactly.
All right, being an outfielder, we are close to the fans. That's the place where, in a lot of these fields, they've made it a lot more intimate, so it feels like they're right on top of you.
Yeah.
What experiences have you had with the fans in the past? Good, maybe bad, maybe funny?
Just being in San Francisco as an opposing player, very tough, man. They're chanting everything. I've been in stadiums where I know they're on Google, Googling my name, looking at all my personal information from my family to anything that I did in high school, just looking for any type of dirt to try to throw at me to get my attention and to try to get in my head. But it's fun though. I even coming to AT&T ballpark, I would have fun with the fans, and personally, I would love when I would make a nice play and then kind of just look back and kind of egg them on or whatever.
Oh, so you're an instigator. You like
a little bit,
okay,
man, a little bit. It gets me going. It gets and it kind of gets the fans going a little bit, and so I don't mind it, man. Sometimes they hit a sore spot, but I can't show them that I heard what they said or whatever. But being a home player at your home stadium, there's nothing better than for me running out, even for the first inning in Washington, I'd run out to center field, and they'd have like a section behind center field, and they would, they were like my supporters. I felt like they were with me, during the game, and they would give me a standing ovation, before every game, and so, I'm just looking forward to coming to AT&T ballpark and having, the same fans that were calling me out of my name to be on my side. So I'm just looking forward to that.
One of my funniest stories, I was playing left field in Fenway Park. Green Monster, they're right on top of you.
Yeah.
So this guy's all over me, and he says, hey, Randy, I dropped a 20 on the warning track.
And you look back?
No, I might have after a couple pitches. But he said, hey, you missed the next ball, you can keep it. But, stuff like that where it's kind of outside the box, it's like, okay, that's just in good fun. He's trying to get me outside my game to get me not concentrating on the ball or whatever. That sort of thing's fun.
Yeah.
So, the fans of San Francisco, they're great. They show up.
Yeah.
They love the team. They support the team. If you're wearing that light blue, that Southern California team, they're on your case.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Those rivalries, those are really fun.
Yeah.